Welcome back. Today the topic is in communicative skill, page number 145, verbals, that is gerunds, participles, infinitives. Before we get into the subject of verbals, let us meet the happy family. Eating is a favorite pastime of the happies. They love to camp outdoor and have a barbecue. Planning an excursion comes easily to Mr. and Mrs. Happy. Mr. Happy is the family chef working on the menu of their outdoor family time is his job. He loves to cook for his family while Mr. Happy is a foodie. Mrs. Happy is a fitness freak. Trekking is her passion. She selects the place of these excursions. Packing up the gear of trekking is her part of the planning, and getting the food supplies ready is Mr. Happy's job. Mrs. Happy is a good singer. While rocking baby Bonnie to sleep, she sings for him. She is also a great storyteller. While sitting around a campfire, she tells everyone beautiful stories about a great adventures. The children, Joy, Twinkle, Rocky, Luna, Bobby, and baby Bonnie have a rollicking time with the outings planned by their parents. So here we can observe some sentences. For example, eating is a pastime, and then planning an excursion, working on the menu. These are gerund phrases. And then some expressions: while rocking, while sitting. These expressions are called participles. And finally, look at the structure of these expressions. To camp, to cook, these expressions are called infinitives. So in verbal, we have a gerunds, participles, and then last one is a infinitives. See, we know some that gerunds, a participle and infinitive is in a part of verbals. We'll see what is meant by verbals. Page number 146, the verbals. For example, there are certain applications of nouns which may sound like verbs but actually functions as nouns. These are called verbals. For example, the word application of a noun which may sound like a verbs but actually function as a nouns. It is functioned as a nouns only, but it is actually what word? It sounds noun word, but it sounds in a verb. These are called verbals or verbal nouns. They are gerunds, infinitives, and participles. Let us discuss them here. See, gerunds. A gerund is a verbal that ends with ing and functions as a noun. The ing is attached is a verb, but the application is such that the total word becomes a noun. See, here we have two sentences. Rajini is gardening. Rajini's hobby is gardening. Okay, in this sentence, Rajini is gardening. In the first sentence, when we read this, we come to know that Rajini is doing some action, that is gardening. But in second sentence is describing that his hobby is gardening. So we have two different meaning in two different sentences. So if we were to construct a question in such a manner that the sentences mentioned above become answers to them. For example, the question may be differ. When the person is doing action means we will ask what he is doing. But when we meant about the hobby, we will ask what is his hobby. So the sentence, the gardening work is the same, but in the first sentence it is an action. In the second sentence it is in a hobby. So see, here we have a question. What is Rajini doing? And then what is Rajini's hobby? So here we can see that the first question asks for the action, and the second question is asked for the name of Rajini's hobby, that is what is his hobby. So in the second sentence, the action becomes the noun here. The action becomes a noun. So here are some other examples. See, reading is a good pastime. Pastime is a traveling. So here it is a gerund is a pastime. That is a traveling. And then they complimented me on my cooking. His favorite hobby is painting. He has been looked for drunk driving. So these are all gerunds. I think you all have come to know. That is gerund. The gerund word must be in ing. That is also particularly it should be a noun, but it sounds as a verbal thing. So it is called a verbal nouns or a verbals. In verbals, it is a gerund. So a gerund phrase is a group of words that functions as a gerund. In the following sentences, the underlined phrases are gerund phrases. Climbing Mount Everest is easier than what we are climbing right now. Talking to my dog is more soothing to me than having a bowl of ice cream. So here, important one, that is a gerund cannot be used in a sentences that doesn't have a main verb, and the gerunds never use punctuations. So gerund, when the sentence has a main verb, in that sentence only we can use gerunds. And also the gerunds never use a punctuation. It doesn't use any punctuations. It is called gerunds. Okay, and then we have infinitives, that is, and in infinitives, an infinitive is a verbal noun that functions either as a noun, adjectives or adverb, and is formed by adding to. So here infinitive can either be a noun or adjective or adverb. So here we have two sentences. Compare the following sentence. Binoy hates to wait. Binoy likes to paint. In these two sentences, you can see that the main verbs are hates, likes, but the parts to wait, to paint are infinitives. See, here also the sentence must have a main verb. In infinitives also the sentence must have main verb. Here the verb itself, hates, likes, it is a main verb. When we have a main verb only, we can continue to that infinitives, to wait, to paint. So the gerunds form of both the sentences. Binoy hates waiting, Binoy likes waiting. So we can say it is to wait, but when we use it in a gerund, it is a waiting and painting. So here, see, important one. In other words, taking away the ing part of the gerund and adding a to before it makes it an infinitive. If the infinitive or infinitive phrase is used in the beginning of a sentences, it uses comma. But in gerund, we never uses any punctuation. But in infinitives, when it comes beginning of the sentence, we must use the punctuation mark, that is a comma. For example, to arrive on time, Sham took the metro. To master your aim, you must practice daily. So see here the two infinitive sentences, that phrases, the infinitive phrases starts from the beginning. So here they have used the comma. So infinitive means the word must comes with the to. In gerund, the word must ends with ing. Next is participle. A participle is a verbal that is used as an adjective and uses either ing, ed, en, dt, n or ne as per the root word. A participle phrase is a group of words consisting of a participle and nouns or pronouns that together functions as a participle. So removing her shoes, Annie jumped into the river. Aisha noticed her dog running along the road. So if a sentence begins with the participle phrases, for example, ing phrases, removing ing, and then Aisha noticed. So that begins with a participle phrase, a comma should be placed after the removing her shoes. After removing that beginning of the sentence, we use a punctuation marks. A mark should be placed after the phrase. Also, a participle phrase must be placed as close to the noun. So, if it is a participle phrase means we must make it close to that noun. While talking to Sanjay, I smiled at Radha. I smiled at Radha while talking to Sanjay. If the sentence says it is not clear who is talking to Sanjay, if we miss the commas, hence when it comes to participle phrase, we need to use it as close to the noun that is doing the action. So this is the gerunds, participle and infinitives. It is all about verbal. If you need any other to be explained, you can put in the chat box so that I will explain, and I will give the exercise answers also. Now you all can see this, and you all can make a exercise. In the next video, I will give you the answers for the exercise. If you like this video, give me a like and subscribe my channel. Thank you a lot.